Who has the most pressure? Let me start that over.
John.
Speaking of Mike Leach.
Who has the most pressure on them? Caitlin Clark, Bronny James, Charlie Woods, or kickers?
Oh,
Vote. And vote hard.
that's an easy one for me.
Kickers.
No, kickers are stupid.
Kickers are stupid, huh?
Kickers are dumb. And when they screw up and they go away, we just move on to the next one. Like,
Well, that's why there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, whatever.
Like,
Dude,
they get-
you have one job.
You know, if you don't make the kicks, you're out.
I don't care.
You're
Go
out.
away. I understand that kickers play a valuable, role, and you need a good one. And when you have a good one, it makes all the difference in the world. But as someone that played for years and you give a lot to that sport, it's painful to see someone that kicks and that's all they do, and that the game gets decided on that.
Nice job, you kicker!
Honestly, I think football would be better if we just got rid of kickers. You weren't allowed to kick field goals. What is this second place? This is America. We're not about some 9-7 BS. Yeah, get rid of kicks, dude.
Nice job, you kicker!
4 downs, man. If you want to punt and you want to go surrender style, that's one thing. But no, there's no field. You're at the 20, right? And it's 4th and 2. Dude, gird up your loins and we're going for that ass. We're not kicking.
You know who? I may be wrong about this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there anyway.
Let's do it.
Do you know who agrees with you on that?
Do
you know what personality?
I'm hoping Dan Lanning.
What personality has been saying that very thing for years?
Who?
The great Skip Bayless.
Oh, for God's sakes. No, I can't.
Pretty sure that's his bit.
I've already agreed with Clay Travis. I agreed with Kim Mulkey.
Geraldo Rivera.
I can't. No. I can't have. No. That's not. Don't do that to me.
Yeah, he said right here. It says there's a big lead story about Skip Bayless is attacking kickers now. He says just hate huge NFL playoff games being decided by little guys who don't even play football. Happened to Green Bay last night. Just happened to Buffalo.
Damn it.
He hates kickers. He says get rid of them. So you and he have something in common.
I actually love
probably
the idea.
more than you know.
Was it the XFL who rolled out the 1, 2, and 3 point try, and you had to pick one of them? But there was like a 2-yard line, a 5-yard line, and an 8-yard line try. Like that would add a wrinkle. You have strategy on every single one of them. That's not just putting it through the uprights.
And some of mine is just it just comes from playing there. I remember being in games where you grind for 4 quarters, right? And you're playing with a. My back is killing me. I'm playing on a bum knee. The quarterback's got a separated non-throwing shoulder. The receiver's got 3 dislocated fingers. The linebacker's probably playing through a concussion. And you go through this 4th quarter war, and then it comes down, he
didn't write the rules, though.
I'm not saying that he does. I'm just saying there's part of me when I would watch those, whether we won or lost the game, and right? And I was, by the way, I was friends with my kicker at BYU. He was a good dude. There's part of me, like, I would sit there and look at that guy whose uniform was bright white. He didn't have to shower after the game. He hadn't sweated or anything. And then he rolls out there in his little face mask and his Hut shoulder pads. And then based on his foot,
it is a little weird.
That decides. And then when I was in Tampa, we had Grammatica, who again was a very good kicker. Martine.
Not Bill.
Not
Bill's
Martin.
the one who blew out his ACL.
Bill's the one that blew out his ACL.
Not Martin or Bill. Martine.
Yeah. And here was the tough part, because in Denver we had Elam, who was a cool dude. People liked him. Grammatica was, how do I put this delicately?
This is not going to be delicate.
He was a bitch.
Yeah, see?
he just was.
All right, well, you didn't like him, so what?
And he was whiny.
He helped you win games.
And no one liked him.
Whiny bitch.
But we had to you had to deal with him, and no one could stand him. And he was very temperamental, and he had his little kick and shoot, and he didn't wear real football pads.
Well,
and I don't like that NFL games are decided on his little soccer foot.
Well, I would say this. You're right in the sense that it doesn't really fit with the rest of the game. Like it's just a weird thing
an
to have.
outlier.
Yeah.
And that thing that doesn't fit with the rest of the game shouldn't be what dictates the ultimate outcome at the end.
But I tell you, it's an exciting play.
It is.
Like when you line up for the last.
It's like a 56-yard field
Dude.
goal. What Buckers when the Josh Allen game, right? That is like, oh my goodness, the pucker factor.
Yeah.
I get why we have it.
Yeah.
By the way, the 2 greatest things that I've ever seen in hazing, and I'm not going to say that I approve of hazing, but Jeff Christie, who was our starting center in Tampa Bay, who was a great dude, made a bunch of Pro Bowls with the Vikings. He could not stand Grammatica. The amount of crap that he did to Martin Grammatica was amazing. He dyed his foot purple.
Yeah.
In
I
the
mean, you've told that story.
Greatest thing I've ever. He in his little kicking shoe, he put purple dye in Grammatica's shoe, and then he walked around all day and he sprayed Grammatica with water, Gatorade, in his foot. And Grammatica thought he was just spraying his foot. What he didn't know is there was like purple like powder dye in there. So Grammatica was all pissed at his foot being wet, and when he took off his shoe, his foot was dyed purple, and he couldn't get it off. It was amazing. The other one is he was very particular about his little shoesies, and he would get really mad if anyone would touch him.
Well, he is a kicker.
He is. So Christy went and took a screw gun and drilled all of Grammatica's shoes into his locker, right through the middle of them, and drilled them to it. And then the other one was he went, those little kid pads? Remember the little Hutch toy, like Halloween uniforms that they would sell for little kids?
Sure.
Little plastic helmet, the little tiny shoulder pads. He stole Grammatica's pads and jersey and helmet and replaced it, hung it in his locker with a little Hutch set.
Probably would have fit him.
Brilliant. And Grammatica lost his ass.
Yeah, he didn't take a
But
joke
what could he
there.
do about it? He just storm around all angry and not do anything to anyone?
He was going around the locker room and was dog cussing everyone, how no one respected him. And no one respected me either, so I should have felt sympathy with him. I've never laughed harder than waiting for Grammatica to come in and see his little Hutch uniform.
Do you think a kicker's ever missed kicks on purpose because he hates his teammates? Because they give him too much crap?
You know what? If they did, I might respect that. Oh, yeah, guys? Check
Yeah, well,
this.
watch this.
Watch this.
I actually asked an Oregon lineman once if he'd ever considered just like letting a blocker through to get to like his punter, so he could like really light up. He's like, "Oh no, you can't ever do that."
No.
But I'm like, if you hate the guy enough, would you let someone in there so he loses his job or he gets hurt?
I just don't ever remember someone being less popular and less respected than Martin Grammatica, who, by the way, was a good kicker. Legitimately was a very good kicker.
Yeah, I feel like he was one of the better in the league, wasn't he, at that time?
I'd have to go back and look at his numbers, but he was a good kicker. It's not like he was a bad one, and people did not respect him.
I would like to read to you. Skip Bayless has been on this since at least 2013.
Son of a gun.
This is from Skip Bayless on ESPN.com. It's called Teeing Off on Kickers.
Oh, boy.
He says, "This, NFL fans, is lunacy. This has been a career-long pet peeve of mine. Why do we blindly accept that the great game of football is often decided by a goofily gimmicky kick between two poles? These kicks count 3 points. They're attempted by one of the lowest-paid members of the team. These kickers sometimes go from clutch to basket case after just a couple of misses. Wake up, people. This is madness. Field goal kicking is wildly exciting for all the wrong reasons. We regularly interrupt games to go for a ride on the equivalent of Disney's stomach and throat Tower of Terror. The scariest words for any fan are wide right or wide left, or in the case of the Buffalo Bills fans, Scott Norwood. This is why I've long proposed a change that will never, ever happen because it makes too much sense. Give place kicking the boot."
Wow.
That
It is official.
is from Skip Bayless
I have now sided
in 2013.
with 4 of the worst human beings that I can think of.
So a lot of your hot takes recently, I mean,
I think we know where this is heading. All right.
you share a brain with Clay Travis and Skip Bayless.
Feeling
You know where I was January 6th. You know who I'm voting for. Apparently, this
Hey.
is where this is going.
Did you hear about the new one? Are you ready for January 20th, 2025?
What?
Oh, yeah.
There's a new one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so
Look
I,
into that.
So I need to get my plane ticket now.
I thought you would know that. Look at you.
Well, is that just because that's the day after Inauguration Day or something like that?
Well, you may be onto something there.
Sorry, boys. I'm gonna have to take a few days off, and don't worry about where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be somewhere completely unrelated.
So so you said kickers is not the answer for you. Who is?
It's Caitlin Clark.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
dude, that poor gal. Ain't poor. She's making a
girl, you
gajillion-
something else.
She's making so much money. So don't. I hate when someone. Who was the tennis player that was always, her mentals? Who was the
Osaka?
Osaka?
Naomi
right?
Osaka.
She almost beat the number one today
Hey.
at the French Open.
Is she back, Naomi Osaka?
She almost beat the French
Yeah,
number one
so
today
assuming
at the
she's
U.S.
back.
Open. She's
So
not
that
as good
means
as she
she's
once
back?
was.
I
but
just-
she is back.
Just it's like you want all the things that come with it, but without any of the pressure. So don't the poor girl thing, no. But the amount of pressure that she's carrying, because she's carrying the weight of an entire sport, and she's carrying the weight of an entire gender, and the gender gap, and the notion that no one watches women's sports, and she's really responsible for an entire gender being uplifted. But at the same time, a good portion of that gender is actively trying to tear her down. Meanwhile, half the guys in the country will never accept her and think that the sport still sucks. Like, she gets it from both sides. And then she apparently has teammates that resent her. Like, it's just, I would not want that. That girl she is carrying Mount Everest on her back each and every night when she goes out there. And it's a little like and I'm not trying to say that she's Jackie Robinson, but I remember when I was reading a book about Jackie Robinson, who was the Dodgers manager or general manager that
Branch Rickey brought him in.
Branch Rickey. He was talking about Jackie Robinson, and he said it couldn't just be a good player. It couldn't. A good player wasn't going to be good enough. Like, if someone to break the color barrier, it had to be just beyond criticism. It had to be someone just that good and that could handle all of that crap. And that's Caitlin Clark. You have to have someone that is that good, that with a thick skin, all of that stuff. And I know the Jackie Robinson stuff was way harder, but it's that kind of pressure that being good isn't good enough. Caitlin Clark can be a good player and she will be viewed as a bum. Anything short of transcendent and perfect in the media and perfect as a teammate and perfect everywhere else, she is going to be viewed as a failure. And there's not another person in sports right now, I think, that carries that kind of weight. Certainly not a kicker.
All right, so vote on our poll question. It's on X at 1080 The Fan, brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling. Who has the most pressure on them? Caitlin Clark, Bronny James, Charlie Woods, kickers.